Yahweh Elohim, Shalom Barak, Allahu Assalamu Alaikum, Warahmatullahi Wabarakatuh, to be upon everyone who catches this message. It's time for a party. Today's party is brought to you by whom? Give me just a moment. I'm sharing out to some people to let some familiar faces know that we have started, and then we will get on with this party. There you are. All right. We get together 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time to discuss ethics in entrepreneurship. We've got 10 different special interest groups that we talk about. Each of them have their own day. We get together Sunday through Friday. On Sundays, it's question and answer, and then after that, each special interest group falls into place for its day. We made it to day 3 of this week. And so, yeah, Namde Home is falling into that place. Each special interest group also has its own particular perspective concerning organic marketing strategies. With Namde Hum, we're looking at visionaries. What does it take to be a visionary, and how do you apply that with organic marketing strategies? User 1723546138011. Pearl Wells 46. Hashem Yahavalahim Shalom Barak. Allahu Assalamu Alaikum Warahmatullahi Wabarakatuh. Our Father's peace, blessings, and mercy be upon you. Thank you for joining the party. Chat on Roblox over here in YouTube land. Hashem Yahavalahim Shalom Barak. Allahu Assalamu Alaikum Warahmatullahi Wabarakatuh. Hitesh Kumar. Hashem Yahavalahim Shalom Barak. Allahu Assalamu Alaikum Warahmatullahi Wabarakatuh. Our Father's peace, blessings, and mercy be upon you. Thank you for being here. Microwave Edits. Hey, I like that name. I'll tell you why. One of my names is DJ Microwave 5000 watts. So Microwave Edits, I like that. Appreciate the like. Hashem Yahavalahim Shalom Barak. Allahu Assalamu Alaikum Warahmatullahi Wabarakatuh. Dennis McZeal, Academium Z. Sophia Cooper. Thanks for the like, and thank you for the greeting as well. Let's see. User 842832455059. Hashem Yahavalahim Shalom Barak. Allahu Assalamu Alaikum Warahmatullahi Wabarakatuh. Your Father's peace, blessings, and mercy be upon all of you. I'm going to play a little bit of music while we wait for some familiar faces to come in. If you're wondering and if you're interested, yes, there is always an agenda when we meet up. Today, we're going to talk about navigating the highways and the byways. Shalom, shalom.
DJ Microwave, 5,000 watts, blowing up your spot, taking everything you got. Talking iCats, Enterprise Lab. Let's see what he got.
Paulo Pacheco,
Got
bienvenido.
a headache in my stomach rumbles in my head. Feeling the pain to remind me of death. Used to peruse Dixie scrolls down the head banging, but whom the bell tolls. Half angel, half death. Me deep in the trolls. Look out, I got a master lock. Tear ducts are now dry ducts. Life keeps leading in a dangerous situation. Blowing up the spot. Bad boy, I'm not trying to stay off the hook like my art fair. So whenever you catch me with crooks, it's just another story to tell. You hear me when the pen drops, reach out and touch ya. Spitting stamina like a cheetah, I'm wary, can't trust ya. If you wanna bring the static, check out my attic. Get just an extra on the stage. My life's like an onion, every song unravels. My tales are too tall while you're minuscule, like the illusions from Gulliver's Travels. Birdie singing with song in the daylight. My meditations give a world sedations later in the street light. Just like everybody else, I'm caught up in the drum of life. House broken apart, separate maintenance from my wife. 3 seeds in this world and none of them curls. Got 2 straight from my roots and the other grafted and spliced. Oh, they claim on my name, that's why I got a million. Staying positive and productive, firm foundation for my children. Check out the sword I'm wielding. Then sun blazing, split some coldest glaciers on the hill. Strike at you twice, roll the dice, singing Emperor's New Silk. So what's the deal? Pretty kitty, I say. It's coming back around and around again. Black night, third cumbers, bringing darkness today. Build a pyramid with 5 stones, mausoleum for dry bones, ejected formaldehyde, drowning in the Black Sea. Sporting 2 tones with Davy Jones. Go, Dad, it's the beat, and I'm ready.
It's an insider joke because that's actually my son's beat. See here, Karen, May Jackson, Paula Pacheco, I saw you. Gerardo Pedrosa, user 53991827760. Monica Farrell, bienvenido. Hashem Yahweh Elohim, Shalom Barak. Allahu Assalamu alaikum. Wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Father's peace, blessings, and mercy be upon all of you. Thank you for joining the party. Call me Yahmel. There you are, Ak. Hashem Yahweh Elohim, Shalom Barak. I want to share something with you. Karen, I see you. Hashem Yahweh Elohim, Shalom Barak. Allahu Assalamu alaikum. Wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Our Father's peace, blessings, and mercy be upon all of you. Ak Jamal, Ak Yahmal. First time when I saw you did a response, and even looking at your at your avatar, you look just like my best friend from school. We met each other back in 1st grade, and last time we talked to each other, we were about 19. Now, to be honest, that was 30 years ago, right? So when I saw your name and I saw the picture, I clicked. I had to see what was going on. And then once I got to your profile, you still almost had me. Because my brother was the same way. Is the same way as far as I know. The messages that you put out, some of the things that you repost and all that kind of stuff. I have a question. Have you heard of an MC whose name is Guru? He's passed now. He's not with us. Live in peace. It's with a group. Well, his group was called Gangstar. If you've heard of a DJ named DJ Premier, it was Guru, and his DJ with DJ Premier. So let me know if you've heard of Gangstar, if you've heard of Guru. You might want to put that one in your pocket and add all the songs to your playlist just to get a rep. That one is right off the top of my dome right now. It's a wonderful song. That's what influenced me. You know, I come from a time when Rap City had just started coming onto the television, when Yo MTV Raps had just started coming onto the television, and I was like maybe 14 or 15 years old. Used to run home just so I could catch what was going on, because back then, yeah, they were actually playing hip hop. Most of the time it was underground. It wasn't people who had got signed on by some major label. And even if they got signed on by a major label, they were being pushed back. So your exposure would come through Ed Lover and Dr. Dre on Yo MTV Raps. Now that Dr. Dre is not the same one that everybody hears about. Completely different person. And then Yo MTV Raps would be on, I think, Saturday evening or something like that, right? Or maybe at night, really, like 8 or 9 o'clock at night. And Fab Five Freddy, you'd hear about him. So you got Fab Five Freddy telling you the news on the East Coast, and then you got Ed Lover and Dr. Dre on the West Coast. So you could still keep up with what's going on if you didn't happen to live in the 5 boroughs, or if you didn't happen to live in LA, if you live somewhere in between. That's how I found out about Common Sense. His first 2 albums were bangers. Not none of this other stuff that he's been doing just to say, yeah, I'm a poet and I can rhyme over an instrumental. He had some bangers. Before he was an actor, he had some bangers. Because it was gritty. It was him talking about jumping on the L train and going across town and doing whatever he had to do, seeing the social injustices, seeing the love within the communities that was there. That's when he was common sense. Now he's just common. Selah. Today's party is brought to you by Nam De Hum. We've got 10 different special interest groups. Nam De Hum is a curator service. Curator, curator service. Most of you have probably only heard about curators either being at a museum or somebody who says, give me $5 and I'll put your name on a playlist. It goes way beyond that. We got a lot of activity going over here, and I do appreciate the love. Tada, Ak. Tada. Let's see here. We got Kat has joined. Steph Dunf. Alicia Lowe. Alan, all in the name of one. I'm not sure. I like the name though. Bernice Douglas. Earth Angel 2181. Jawan Potter. I saw when you clicked the follow. Thank you. Tada, thank you. Shukran. Thank you. I want you all to know something. When I come in front of this screen, this is not just for me to be talking. I need interaction. Right now the screen is buffering over here on TikTok land. Give it a second to see if it wants to act right. If not, I'm going to back out and come back in. We'll give it another 30 seconds. There we go. Wanted to tell me to reply. Reply to what? Pablo de Gallo. Bienvenuto. P-Funk. I saw that name come up. Hashem Yahav Alahim. Shalom Barak. Allahu Assalamu Alaikum. Wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Our Father's peace, blessings, and mercy be upon all of you. Thank you all for coming to the party. So what do I mean when I say that Nam De Hum is a curator service. For those of you who are familiar with me, Highest Heights Studio is a label. I am sole proprietor of Highest Heights Studio. Now, that doesn't mean I'm the only person involved with it. However, it does mean that any activities, positive, negative, anything that goes on, will be directed back to me. Because not only did I initiate it, I am also the one that does the activities. So anything that comes out of it, I have to be self-accountable. If somebody says something bad about Highest Heights Studio, I can either ignore it or I can address it. If there was a bad move made through Highest Heights Studio, I'm definitely not going to ignore it. By Adon's will, inshallah, I will address it and correct it and make sure that the party who was harmed is put back to where they are supposed to be. How many of you know that that's actually the mission of so-called insurance? They don't always insure you, but they do expect you to pay them, right? Looking at me, you wouldn't be able to tell. There was a time in my life that I was an insurance agent. Not a salesman, an agent. Sit behind the same desk, wear the same shirt, have the same card with my identification on it. However, no one would have ever called me a salesman. When people would walk through the door, come in, hey, welcome, come on in. I have a question. Okay, well, have a seat and let's find out what's going on. Well, I want to know about prices. Prices to what? What is it that you would like to do? Well, I want to do this, and this. How much will it cost? I can't tell you how much it's going to cost like that. Let's find out what it is that you want, what it's going to cover, how it benefits you. And then we can discuss price. Whether it's whittling off some stuff or adding some stuff on. Let's find out what you actually need. Because I'm not here to sell you some prefabricated package. There is no one size fits all because we're all unique. So my duty is to inform you and then let you make your own educated decision. Before I was an insurance agent, that's already how I was carrying myself throughout life. I became an insurance agent because someone asked me to help them get their business started. I didn't know an inkling about insurance before the year 2015. Got a few more people that have come in, I think. Let's see here. Smooch lover. Hashem Yahavalahim. Shalom Barak. Allahu Assalamu alaikum. Wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Father's peace, blessings, and mercy be upon everyone who catches this message. So what does an insurance agent have to do with a curator? I'm the sole proprietor of Highest Heights Studio. There's about 6 or 7 albums in the portfolio of Highest Heights Studio. My name is on them. However, I'm not the sole owner of all 7 albums. One of the albums belongs to Namde Hoon. Now, I'm a co-partner in Namde Hoon. There's actually a person, it's their brainchild. My brother Bart. It's his brainchild. Bart has over 25 years of musical experience. Sound engineer, playing in a live band, connecting up different pedals and DJing sets in front of thousands of people, working the light systems for other bands, working crowd security, running around handing out water, and being the first responder until the paramedics show up. That's part. Now me, I didn't jump up to all of that kind of level. I was back home hosting shows in living rooms and bringing bands in from different cities to go and play at the venues in my town. And if the venues weren't available, then yes, we're gonna find a living room for you to be able to play. We're gonna make sure that you have some gas that you can put in your van or your truck or whatever vehicle so you can travel to the next place. We're gonna make sure that there's some people who are willing to contribute to you when you showcase your wares. When you have that 7-inch A and B side vinyl, because yeah, they were selling vinyl singles, records, and even vinyl LPs, long playing records. In 1995, 1999, where you see people talking about, oh, let's do this resurgence now and let's bring back vinyl. I know people who have been on vinyl the whole time. I know people who refused to sign with a major label because they wanted to go and print their vinyl, hop in their vehicle, and travel around doing a tour, pass out their vinyls, and get paid independently. That's how independent labels were started. So when you hear something about an indie band, an independent band, this was something that was going on before such groups as Weezer. When you hear about those college bands that didn't get any further than their garage, it's because they didn't know what the next step was going to be. They may not have necessarily wanted to go join in with Sony, Time, Warner, and whoever helps, Interscope. They may not have wanted to do all of that. So they pursued whatever their college courses were, or they went into whatever skill and trade and put the music down. I was around those people as well. In 1995, going into 96, I met a whole community of people who considered themselves DIY, do it yourself. Now that didn't mean that we had 4 blocks and all these houses was just us DIY. No, we were a community because we were a connective network of people who DIY. And I could pick up the phone and call across town saying, hey, I need so-and-so resource, or I need your help doing so-and-so. And they say, yes, I'm in. Time to pause for the cause, because we got some familiar faces in the building. Tada, thank you for the love. Akati Deborah. It's time to leave America. Time to leave the van. Very tabah to see you. Both you, Ak, and you, Akati. Will Ward. Charity Christ. Hashem Yahav Alahim. Shalom Barak. Allahu Assalamu Alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Our Father's peace, blessings, and mercy be upon all of you, your families, and your circles. Thank you for being here at this party. We've got a few things to discuss today. This party is brought to you by Nam De Hoon, a curator service. Cheryl D. Cheryl, 75. Cherie's Stuff. Hashem Yahav Alahim, Shalom Barak. Allahu Assalamu Alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Our Father's peace, blessings, and mercy be upon you. Yeah, we've got a lot to unpack today. Nam De Hoon represents a curator service. And whenever we're going to be talking about Nam De Hoon in our meetings, we're talking about a perspective of looking at organic marketing strategies concerning visionaries. Has anybody ever told you that you are a visionary? Or have you ever been around someone and someone else said, hey, that person is a visionary? What makes you a visionary? Most of us have eyes to see, granted. Some of us we don't have our eyesight. When I do this, I'm pretty much blind as a bat. What's funny is I actually can see better at night. Now, light is light, and of course, yeah, you can make out what's going on. However, my sight gets a little bit crisper. And that's because one of my eyes is slightly flattened. And so when that bright light is taken away, I don't have so much stigmatism to deal with. Visionary. Instead of complaining about it, I adapted to it. Glasses are on so that I can read what's happening on the screen. I can see just fine. I can hop into a vehicle and operate it and travel where I need to go. And I want you all to keep that in your ear. How I keep saying travel, travel, travel. All right? Keep that in your ear. There's a reason. You may have heard people jump up on other platforms and they want to tell you, here, take this pill or take that pill or blah, blah, blah. No, this ain't got nothing to do with a pill. Let me tell you something. Dayquil and NyQuil both do the same thing. Just one of them going to keep you up and the other one going to make you go to sleep. But it's the same thing. So no, this is not about a pill. We don't need the pill. We need to find the effects that we want and move towards the things that would give us those effects, not the pill. I'm here to tell you, convenience is not for your benefit. That's why I don't ever just hand over something to somebody. Now, it's one thing if I give something out of love, because love is an action. If I see that you need and I hand it to you, it's because I'm expecting you to use it. I know you need it. So put this to use. Here you go. Help you out. Get you back on your feet. Now, I'm not going to hand you the keys to a Porsche 911 if you're showing me that you refuse to even get up and move right foot and left foot. If you refuse to just walk. No, I'm not going to give you a Porsche 911. I'm not even going to give you a Honda Civic. I'll ask you, would you like to take a walk? That first time. Now after that, if you see me grabbing my backpack and I'm on my way out the door, that's your invitation. You saw me moving. You better get up and move with me if that's what you want to do. You only get one invitation from me. I'm not going to insist. I'm not going to force anything. I'll bring it to you. Here you go. Look it over. Chew over it for a minute. I tell you what, though, by the time I come back around, prayerfully, you've made your decision. Because, yes, even in prayer, there's parts to prayer that people forget. You think about it. You say your terms. You say what it is that your plea, whether your plea is praise or your plea is asking for something. You put in a petition. Well, the next part of that is action. What do you do to get that petition answered? Because it's not going to just drop out of the sky. There's going to be a vessel that comes along, another human being. They may not say, oh, I was sent to you. I woke up today and something told me I had to come and bring this to you. No. It might be happenstance. You might be on your way into the gas station store and there's a person standing right there by the door. And when you walk up, all you hear is some mumbling. But then all of a sudden, it starts getting real clear and crisp. Where other people thought that this person is just a little bit disturbed mentally or whatever, you start hearing a clear message come out of their mouth. concerning that same petition that you put up 5 minutes before you walked out the door. Whether it's a verse that you've heard before out of a scripture or a scroll, or they're actually talking about something that you could actually use. Somebody else would have thought it was just as random as ever. Why is this person even talking about that? Why is this person standing over here looking all scruffy, saying that hashtags are the key? Now, I am trying to get my business off the ground and everything, and I've been told that I need to use social media, but I don't want to put my hands in social media. You walking in the door, the person says hashtags are the key, SEO is the system, the other system doesn't work, that system is falling. And other people are like, what is this person talking about? But it was that message that you needed. And you go inside, whether it was put 5 on pump 5, or you wanted to go grab a snack and a water. While you in there, you grab 2 waters. Pay for everything, you go outside, and that person water, and keep going. Whether they say thank you or not. Because now you just showed some love for the love that got shown to you. Real simple process, you see? What's that got to do with being a curator? For the 25 years of experience that Bart had doing what he was doing, I can say the same. What's 25 minus 25? Some would say 0. What's 2025 minus 25? 2000. Mafia Soy Publications was started in 1999. Mafia Soy Publications has a CEO. I'm not the CEO. I'm the VP. Maxine Williams. Mitch Sharatasan. I love that name. It's very Tabata to have you here. Kimberly Roshins. Hashem Yahav Alahim. Shalom Barak. Allahu Assalamu Alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Our Father's peace, blessings, and mercy be upon you, your family, and your circle. That's to everyone in here. Thank you for joining the party. I pray that you learned something. Now, what does learn mean? That doesn't mean I read something and now I know it because I read it. No. Because the word know or knowledge means that you're intimate with it. So even if you read something, did you go and find something that counters what you read? Did you go read something else that actually agrees with what you read? And then after all of that, did you apply it within your own activities? So you got to do all of that. Then you learn something. Because then you can go to somebody else and tell them about it. Not just a piece, not just your opinion. You can tell them the front side, the back side, the side to side. Okay? Because yeah, I'm hood. and if you know anything, then you would understand that reference, front, back, side to side. And that's before T.I., by the way. Talking about the original people who we're talking about. Matter of fact, he had to do a song with one of the original people just to have permission to be able to say it, right? I'm real old school. So 25 years and 25 years is 50 years of experience. We're just splitting it between 2 people. So we did establish, we did qualify that a curator is someone who works in a museum. Now, not everybody who works at that museum is a curator. The curator is responsible for all of the collections at the museum. And when you go to the museum and you're walking around doing your thing, you will notice There might be a plaque on the wall way off in a corner somewhere that says, this museum is curated by so and so. They don't own all of the exhibits. They're responsible for them, but they don't own them. And if you came and you questioned the curator about this exhibit over here in the East Wing, that curator should be able to give you the information concerning who the contributing artist was, what media they used, what mood they were in, what era they were representing. That's what a curator does. Not just, oh, I like that sound and this matches this other sound over here, so you give me $5 and I'm gonna list you with all these other sounds. That's not what a curator does. Because when you walk into the East Wing, you might find 4 or 5 different exhibits that are completely different. However, you just walked into that wing and now you're walking through a playlist. Because sometimes, yeah, there is some audible things going on, guided tours, or you might get in front of a piece and you can hit this button over here and there's a recording. It's going to tell you something. But I'm just playing off of words right now, all right? Because the general idea is this. What we have been told today as a convenience, there are curators offering their services. Well, they're not telling the whole truth. It's not what a curator does. A curator is going to hold a portfolio, and that portfolio has other people's projects in it. Not just what's going to sound great, not just what's trending, everything. That's why when you walk through certain places, you're seeing all kinds of stuff. Go to the Smithsonian, you're going to see all kinds of stuff. Go to the Louvre, you're going to see more than Madonna. All right? You're going to see more than Picasso. Go to the Metropolitan. You're going to see more than what somebody painted in 1812. You're going to see what somebody painted 3 months ago. Yet they're using the same medium. And they may have chosen a Baroque kind of style. What's Baroque? Art appreciation. Go check it out. What is Baroque? B-A-R-O-Q-U-E. Go look it up. Crystal 99-1 McCurry. Blood Capleton. Hashem Yahavalahim Shalom Barak. Allahu Assalamu Alaikum wa Rahmatullahi wa Barakatuh. Peace, blessings, and mercy be upon you from our Father. Gananya Hashral. It's been a while since I've seen you. It's very tabah to have you here. Thank you for being here. Tada, shukran. Hashem Yahavalahim Shalom Barak. Allahu Assalamu Alaikum wa Rahmatullahi wa Barakatuh. And with that being said, I think we got enough familiar faces in here to where we can actually go ahead and get this party jumped off, right? A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. We seek the protection of our Father against shaitan and the evil ways while we walk the divine path. We recite surah, psalms, and prayers when we are attempting to be nearer with our Creator. At this point, I'm going to recite Surah Al-Fatiha. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Ar-Rahmanir-Rahim. Maliki Yawmiddin. Iyaka na'budu wa iyaka nasta'in. Ihdinas siratal mustaqim. Sirata alladhina an'amta alayhim. Ghayril maghdubi alayhim waladdallin. Amin. In the name of our Father, the most merciful, the most compassionate, Lord over all worlds, creator of our deen, the divine path, the most merciful, the most compassionate, we ask you to forgive us when we disobey like others have done before. We ask you to teach us how to forgive when others have trespassed against us. We thank you for providing the deen, our divine path. Amen. It is said once we leave this physical realm that we call life, we will go to meet our Creator, each of us individually, and we will be asked, have you heard Surah Al-Fatiha? Those who've been listening for the last 2 or 3 minutes, yes, you have. You've heard it in Farsi, and you've heard it in English. Why don't I say Arabic? Because the term Arab means nomad. Arabic means one who has the tendencies and customs of a nomad. Not every nomad speaks Farsi. So no, you can't call that language, that tongue, Arabic. It is for a specific culture. It's not locked into a specific place. It's a specific culture. There's way too many misnomenclatures, nomenclatures, misnaming. Too much of that. That's the reason why Bart came up with nom de whom, name of whom. Where have you heard this phrase before? Nom de plume, name of pen. You might read something that somebody got printed and published, and they don't necessarily use the name that you would know them from if you met them on the street, or if you met them at the grocery store, or if they were your next door neighbor. They may have a different pen name. Nom de plume. Bart got jokes. Bart got intelligence. Bart got vision. So he said, I wanted to start something called Nom de Whom to protect independent and interdependent artists. And I said, that's great, because I'm here to protect interdependent artists and artisans. What's an artisan? It's someone who has a specific skill or trade, or maybe even more. They can give you a product or a service that they generate with their own hands and their own mind, driven to do it from their soul, from their spirit, their every breath is them being driven to do this. Akati Mavis is very tabah to have you here. Hashim Yahav Alahim, Shalom Abara. Allahu Assalamu Alaikum, wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. I've had my first 2 cups of coffee for the day. However, see that? Time for another round. So while I get prepped, I'll put this in your ear real quick.
Rolling around, the haters, the naysayers, rolling around me. I got movement, archers and bracelets, rolling around me. The haters, the naysayers, rolling around me.
lane. Identify each one like sand. Before the hour passes, a little you turn to rain and see you like glasses. Associated with activity is like a longevity. Accentuating the positive and outdoor environments. They survive on side of your mess. What's the sacrament? The downforce, the downfalls, and save you from pitfalls, and fade walls, and cause you to face them, and get up grinning. The version of dollars, of ideas, stretching like baseball ends. And that's what it's been. You know that outside, except for IOUs of I told you so it's been. What would they hang around me? The haters, the bears, the naysayers. What would they hang around me? I got to learn hard to the what would they? What would they hang around me? Depending on the copyright, take some time and effort. I'm private, moving on my left foot. My company and class got rights restricted. Reserving my reservoir, they picking my fences. Like shepherds and ranchers and dust bowls. I keep my plate full. Keep me alive and learning, so my pie got sharpened and gobbled up. Wedged like corks and they bottled up. Took through the fence and followed the model up. Up in a Holocaust race. Pushing my arm and growing up. I take a big gulp from my small cup that's running over with good sense. Into a saucer, and dies like hopscotch. Level playing field since she's off me and off her. I think it would go oriented if it was like soccer. Outside of the center of the camera, just where the plane, being pockets and hands. Those that hang around me. The haters, the haters, and the naysayers. Why would they hang around me? I got blueprints, cartridges, bricklayers. Why would they? Why would they hang around me? There's no sort of devilish dimensional speaking up on humane individuals. Once the sparks of life and life begin to shine, they say they're finished, can't be mine. Another brain sleeping with another soul leaving, while ego and greed keep feeding. Pass the boat to see the wagon son of K. Fox teeth. Putting you up, coated with flour and eggs, a little sugar for the sweet. 500 years ago, was feeding for a cake and not everybody has diabetes. A few heads of road, yet still standing sentence remain slow. So the Christmas present, watching me see you wearing the cotton candy bowl. Go hard, who did? Run rebels, or fight knowledge, put your mankind's pastimes, replacing soul and living desires. Why would they hang around me? The haters, the beggars, and the naysayers. Why would they hang around me? I got blueprints, cartridges, bricklayers. Why would they hang around me? Why would they? DJ right away, I don't know why I love those pops. Take anything, yeah.
Have you been experiencing that sinking feeling? I'm gonna share something with you. You ever get that moment where you feel like your insides are feeling a little bit sour? You're not quite nauseated. It doesn't feel like your bowels are about to release on themselves, but you do have an uncomfortable feeling, that sinking feeling, that reaching towards the light and can't quite get to it feeling. Traveling towards your goal, and it seems like your goal is just stretching further away. And then you sit yourself down for a second, trying to catch your breath, and you notice now the goal is really far away. And your stomach is still being torn up. It's not an eating problem. You're being directed. You're being told to take action. And that sinking feeling is not going to go away until you empower the knowledge that you have gained. Had a great conversation with Ahmad Trucker the other day. He said something very vital. Knowledge isn't power. And this is something that actually traces back to a group of people who've said this. And they were quoting another group of people who said it, and so on and so forth. But here you go. Here's the gist of it. Walk into a library. Books everywhere. Now, really, the only power that's going on while you standing in that library is the lights are on and you can see the books. Knowledge everywhere. You can open up a book, start turning the pages and reading the words. I like this book. So you take that book and you go sit down in a chair somewhere, or you sit down on the floor right there in front of the shelf. You start reading. Now it's still just knowledge. You find some things that interest you so much that you break out your handy dandy notebook and your handy dandy pen and you start writing down the stuff that really interests you. Okay? Now when you're done with that book, don't put it back on the shelf yet. You're not done. Hold on. Some of the stuff you're going to be able to see on the spine of the book, but the other stuff you'll have to open it up and see that page where it tells you about who published it and all of that and the year it was printed. Well, you need that information. It's very important. So we're just going to turn to that page. We're not going to worry about what's on the cover. We're not going to worry about what's on the spine, because all the information that we need is actually on that first page. Who's the author? Or were there several authors? Either way, let's put their name. First name, last name. Matter of fact, let's do last name, comma, space, first name. Now, if we got a whole bunch of people, last name, comma, space, first initial, dot. What year was this book or periodical printed? Let's put that in parentheses. Why is it important to know the year? Because then you can apply it in context. Whatever is being said right here is talking about up to that point in time. This was the information that was available. Now, you might have found a book that's from 1985. And here we are, Caesar calendar 2025. So that's a total of 40 years. A lot can change in 40 years because a lot can change in 4 years. So we got this information and we like it. What's the name of the book? Write out the title. What's the name of the publishing company? Now, why is this important? Well, one, you're giving acknowledgement to the ones who provided this medium, this media, this piece of material, this book that you are reading. So we're going to give credits to the ones who wrote it, and then the ones who published it and distributed it. But when you were in your handy dandy notebook and you were writing out your notes, you were taking information from certain pages out of this book. So now we need to go back and document the pages that we used. Page 28. Got a couple of things out of a couple paragraphs there. Page 50 through 66. I couldn't even write all that down. It was 16 pages worth. So I did a little synopsis here and there. Page 110. I was about 15 pages away from the end, but I got to 110. And it kind of closed in and put everything into perspective from what I was reading from the beginning all the way up to what I liked at pages 50 through 60, 65, 66. So I need to make sure I got these pages written down. Why? Because later, when I decide to have a conversation with somebody, I need to be able to direct them right back to where I got the information from. If you were told to write a paper when you were in the 6th grade, they told you, we're about to graduate from just a 3-point analysis where you can write your introduction and give your 3 points in your intro statement and then have 3 paragraphs where you're talking about it and then put a conclusion at the end. Those essays were nice. That got you ready to actually start writing some real rhetoric. Because now instead of 5 paragraphs, I need 5 pages from you. That opening page is going to tell me your introduction, what it is you want to discuss. Now you got 3 pages to discuss. And then you got that last page where you're writing your conclusion about what you discussed. Now all the stuff that you were writing about, whenever you put a fact in, meaning where you got some information from somewhere else and you're bringing it in so that you can write about it, and even if you put it in your own words and you don't quote it, you put it in your own words. When you get done writing all the stuff that you are referring to, put a parenthesis in there, because now you're going to put the name of the author, even if it's just their initials, comma, date when it was published. The date is important. The publishing company is important because they may have been influenced by someone, or they may be the influencer. Yeah, we'll publish you, but you have to talk about this way. That's why the author is important, because the author may have been inspired by someone, or they may have been influenced by someone else, and they said, you're going to write it this way, you're going to talk about this. Now, the reason why all of that is important is because now you got to go find 2 more books. One of the books is going to talk about how everything that you like is not correct. And you're going to read it. Whether you like it or not, you're going to read it because it's giving you information. TikTok has decided to buffer. We're going to give it a second to decide what kind of temper tantrum it wants to throw. And we'll move forward. It's a puzzle. Who in this room? This room? Or this room? TikTok land. YouTube land. Who in this room experiences that sinking feeling? Khaled Kofi. Very tabah to have you here. Tada. Shukran. Crystal Davidson, Rocket Love. Mad Bear, I saw you when you came in. I was talking. Hashem Yahweh Elohim, Shalom Barak, Allahu Assalamu Alaikum, Warahmatullahi Wabarakatuh. Our Father's peace, blessings, and mercy be upon everyone who catches this message. Akati Mavis Tada, thank you for letting me know. It's buffering over there too. Sorry, I'm riding in the car with my homegirl not paying attention. Akati Crystal, if you're riding in the car with your homegirl, you two may be having a conversation, a very deep conversation, and I'm not hating you. it's not a diss or anything like that. If you and your homegirl are having a conversation and you're not tuning into what I'm saying, you can go back to my YouTube playlist. You can go to my YouTube channel. It's Angelic Discipline, just like on TikTok. Go there at any given time, and you will be able to play back these live broadcasts, because we're rocking and rolling. We were rocking and rolling since before the electric guitar. We were rocking and rolling on boats. We were rocking and rolling on boats before that boat that nobody wants to talk about. We were rocking and rolling on boats because we were traveling, visiting, and catching nets, or casting nets. If you were slick and you was out in the middle of the water and somebody threw one at you, maybe you caught a net. We were casting nets. With all that being said, I do thank you for attending the party. And I'm sure there's some other people who may not catch everything that I say. That's why it's being preserved and saved for future reference. I do thank you for your presence here. I do thank you for including your homegirl, because that means two people are catching this message all at once. You can go back and listen to it later when y'all aren't riding in a car. You heard your name and it caught your attention. Well, you're the one who interacted in the comment section, and I appreciate you for that as well. You are very valued for that, because I don't know what's going on in people's minds unless they tell me. I'm sensitive enough to be able to pick up on some people's thought patterns and things like that. However, I will never tell you that I'm a mind reader. No, I'm not a mind reader. If you knew what was inside of my brain, you might run away. No, I'm not a mind reader. So when you exchange information with me, when you tell me what's going on your end, then I know how to adapt. You know, there's some people who can't just listen to somebody talking. They need some music in the background or something. They need a little widget to fidget around with, because they crave a distraction just to try and make them sharpen up their other sensory skills. So I'm not mad at you. That's why there's interchange with music. I'm playing music sometimes. However, when it comes to the message, I'm not going to muddle the message. I'm not going to mix up the sound then, because we just experienced the signal being buffered. That wasn't my doing. However, it was a reaction to what I was doing, because I just went through Grammar 101 in the last 15 or 20 minutes. That little visit to the library, that's Grammar 101. After you get past putting things in present, future, and past tenses and writing out your sentences and everything, well, here's the next level. Grammar, research, core studies if you are taking college courses. Now, the thing is, that's just a repeat, because like I said, in the 6th grade, they're going to tell you, all right, this is wonderful that you did a 5-paragraph essay. Now we want 5 pages from you. And no, you can't just write 5 pages of your opinion. You're going to go do some research. Find out some stuff that you like. Then you go find some other writings where it's talking about everything that you like is not true. Because you need to be able to compare. And then it's up to you. Go find something that's agreeing with what you're talking about. Well, now you have at least 3 resources. However, it's not balanced. It's still biased. So now we go back to the date of the printed publication. You found something more recent. In this book over here, from 2021, you're saying everything they was talking about in 1985 has been disproven, and now this is what we're on. And then you find another book from 2024 that says they were on the right track in 1985. However, there were some missing pieces. We found those pieces. And when they did that book in 2021, they were telling the truth too, because it disproved these conclusions that people were trying to come to, because they only had a theory. So we looked at what was disproven, found the missing pieces, and now we're here to tell you a completely different story than that one that you got from 1985. The people talking in 2021 are not completely correct. The people from 1985 were not completely correct. We're going to give you this so you can see our findings. However, that is not the end of the process either. Because now that you have these new findings, yes, you have to dig deeper. That does not mean you go to TikTok and you scroll through and you see a video and then somebody else comes along and they're talking about something different and then you scroll a little bit more. No. How many of those people that you see on TikTok actually give you some references of where they got their information? It is not information to me unless you can show me where it came from. You get on the screen and you want to tell a compelling story about something that you saw happen. That's great, that's fine, that's dandy. You got some real footage? Or you just want to tell me something? See a whole video AI presentation. Do you really expect me to believe the information that's being put there and there's not even a real person there? And the reason why I'm laughing while I'm saying it is because I make videos with AI pictures. Sometimes there will be an AI voice. However, my videos are not 100% AI with some information thrown in. You're going to see evidence of me in there somewhere. And if I give you some information, I'm going to show you a link of where you can go get it. Because nowadays, no, everybody doesn't go to the library. You've got a handy dandy source in your pocket at all times. And when it's not in your pocket, it's in your hand. And if it's not in your hand, it's in your lap. And if it's not there, then it's somebody else borrowing it for a second before they hand it back to you. Do some real research, though. Don't consult Google. Hey, Google, where is the Smithsonian? How familiar is that? Google didn't have a name 20, 30 years ago. People went and did their own research. Where do you think Google gets its information from? There's a difference in even trying to find some information. If you want to go online and find some information, make sure it came from an academic journal. We were exposed to academic journals when we were young. National Geographic. Remember that magazine with the yellow frame around the cover? National Geographic. take you to a particular destination on the globe, show you the longitude and latitude of where it is, what's going on in that region. Flora and fauna, animal life, vegetable life. Speak life into those you love. It's very Tabah to have you here, Minister Stephen. And then we also have a visitor over here in YouTube land. I'm not even going to say your name. Hashem Yahav Alahim Shalom Abarak. Allahu Assalamu Alaikum. Wa Rahmatullahi wa Barakatuh. Our Father's peace, blessings, and mercy be upon all of you. There's an individual who did join the party over here in YouTube. You know, some people get a comical, no, I'm not going to call you that either. Some people get handles that they choose, their name, and they're funny. They're hilarious. Right now, I'm on a mission. I have been commissioned to give you a message. Pronouncing your name goes against my mission. Any way that you put it. Funny name. Hilarious name. Made me laugh. You saw that. That's also why I'm not going to pronounce the first thing that you said. And Tada, thank you for liking me. That's great. And also, I'm very happy that you are getting the message. Anyone ever tell you, MashaAllah, our Father is pleased with your work? Angelo is your name? Now we're getting somewhere, Angelo. Because that means somewhere in your Shem, in your authority, you have angelic tendencies. It was put on you. Now it's up to you how you want to walk with it. And if you didn't know, angels aren't people walking around wearing gowns and having wings coming out their backs. It's not what an angel is. There's cherubim, there's seraphim. Some of them are messengers, some of them are warriors, some of them are choir. But no, they're not moving around wearing nightgowns with wings coming out of their backs. Well, welcome. Bienvenuto. Very happy to have you here. You're an observer. That's one of the first steps. Even though you're hearing me talk a whole lot right now, I don't really talk like this in real life. Matter of fact, observer, listener, escuchando. I do a lot of listening. Observer, mirar, to look. I look and watch a lot. Salute, Colette. Salute. Many much respect. Raquette Love. Hashem Yahav Alahim. Shalom Abarak. Allahu Assalamu Alaikum. Wa Rahmatullahi wa Barakatuh. Our Father's peace, blessings, and mercy be upon you, your families, and your circles. That's for everyone who is here at the party. Thank you. Thank you for being here. Tada. Shukran. Spasibo. Look, hear, and feel. I like how you're communicating and thinking right now, Angelo. Much respect to you. So we've gone through the process of entering research. And if you're online, you want to look for an academic journal. It doesn't have to be National Geographic. That was a reference. Because it's a reference. Just like your dictionary or your encyclopedia. It's a known, credited reference. not just somebody wrote some article and posted it up online somewhere. The Onion is not the same as New York Times. And even New York Times can't always be trusted. The Tribune can't always be trusted. The Herald can't always be trusted. You have to go and find an article where it starts out saying abstract. And that doesn't mean, oh, this could be anything looking like anything. No. Abstract means, I'm going to give you a concise description of what you are about to read. Oh, I thought that's what the introduction is. No, you're going to get the introduction after this. Because the introduction introduces you to what you're about to read. No, I'm going to tell you within 5 or 6 paragraphs. Or no, excuse me, 5 or 6 lines. What you're about to read. Meaning you might get a summary through each line or sentence just telling you what's going on each page. Because you're reading a 5-page article, not a 5-paragraph article. There's a big difference. 5 pages. Where somebody is really doing a comparison, where somebody really is enumerating what all is going on. Now, what does that have to do with the curator? Well, when you go to the curator and you're asking about the East Wing, the curator is going to start talking to you. And it's going to sound like you just opened up somebody's academic journal, because they're going to be telling you everything pretty much word for word. Why? Because whoever the artist happened to be that put their exhibit into that museum, they did give the museum a dissertation. Somewhere out there in the world is an explanation of what they were attempting to do when they painted that picture, when they carved that carving, when they wrote that poem, when they assembled those bones. When they set up that display that shows you a depiction of how people used to live in 1850 AD compared to how people lived 1850 BC. That curator is going to be able to tell you, because the curator has to be informed. What's that got to do with Nam De Hum? Bart went to college. I went to college. That doesn't make you a curator. It doesn't even make you a bona fide expert. No. Anybody can go to college. You might have to pass certain criteria to get in. However, everybody has the opportunity to go to college. College is not the end-all, be-all, and the make-all for your success in life. College isn't for everybody. Because most people go to college and they get indoctrinated. They are told, this is what you're going to study, and when you get done with it, this is what you're going to say about it. That's called indoctrination. That is not freedom of thought. That's not free thinking at all. Free thinking is just like I described. You might find something you're interested in, or just something that you like, or you liked how somebody said it. And then you go find counterpoints to it. Who else agreed? Who else disagreed? Who else said that that's just foolishness altogether? I don't care who agreed. I don't care who disagreed. The whole thing is foolish. How often do you get in a conversation with someone where they can do that? I ain't talking about arguing against you. Many much respect, Colette. That was the most powerful line you dropped in a minute. And you're always dropping powerful lines. I'm not knocking any of them away. I'm just telling you right now, that's the most powerful line you've dropped. Do not consume yourself in idle arguments. That is a waste of time. That is not our focus. That is not the mission. That has nothing to do with the message. Do not consume your time around people who just want to argue for sport. Oh yeah, I caught you. I caught you. What sport, Fun? You try to tell somebody some vital information, they start arguing with you. Okay. You just told me your stance. Now I know when the time comes and I'm ready to actually line everybody up and get things going, you're not gonna be on the path with us. Well, would they hang around me? The haters, the naysayers. The haters, the debaters, the naysayers. Why would they hang around me? I got blueprints, carpenters, and bricklayers. We get into business. Go check out 1 Kings. Read and read and read and read. And then look in there where it says they were told to bring the treasury out of the temple to pay the builders. Well, so on and so forth, refused to bring out the payment for the builders, and there were no repairs. And then along comes such a one, and they said, bring out the treasury. And they were astonished by how much was actually inside of the treasure box. And it was immediately dispersed to the builders in order for them to rebuild and maintain what was there. And even in some of the cases, such an one went out and destroyed the high places. I still ain't went and looked up the high places. I'm pretty sure what they are, but I'm not going to do any guesswork. I'm going to go look it up. I'll share it with you, don't worry. However, the high places didn't have anything to do with the Most High. That's what matters. Went and destroyed the groves and the grottos where these people were doing polytheistic activities. Go read 1 Kings. What's all that got to do with being a curator? We're talking about ethics. We're talking about standards. We're talking about the principality of words, the origins of words. Did you know that there can be a curator of knowledge? You might call him teacher, instructor, master, leader, curator of knowledge. I've said everything except for librarian, right? Darius, I see you. Roquette Love. I remember when we first started communicating. Barak Allah Fik. May our Father bless and heal you. Inshallah, Ya Allah, you barik aluma wa sakhapa. By the will of our Father, may blessings and healings and protection be upon the community and those who have made the promise. What's the promise? La ilaha illallah. Subhanahu wa ta'ala amin. There is none worthy of worship and praise except Allah. Allah is Allahu. That also means Elohim. Lord over all worlds. Inshallah means Lord willing. Adon willing. Well, who is Yahweh? That's our creator. That's our father. That's Abba. That is the most high priest, our rabbi, Rabbi Shfirli. Respect to the Most High for connecting us all. Ameen. Subhanahu wa ta'ala means all praise is due to our source of sustenance and mercy. A librarian isn't necessarily a teacher. Sometimes if you go to the library and you want to work with the Dewey Decimal System and actually go through the card catalog, you can ask the librarian to assist you. What do these numbers and dots and letters mean? Because I thought I could just walk in here and look this up in alphabetical, but well, if you go to that section over there, that's nonfiction, that's fiction. Those are the resources over there. And then if you go over here, we got it in Dewey Decimal because it's in different sections too. That's your librarian. Now, the librarian may be walking around with all kinds of information in his or her head. And they may be available to give you such information. However, don't expect them to give you all the answers. They can tell you where to find the answers. A Kohelet is a leader, a teacher, an assembler of leaders. Kohelet is a walking library. Imam, leader of a group of Muslims, meaning this individual happens to know the most information that you could find in the Quran compared to everybody that is being assembled. Not that this is the best person. No, this person happens to know the information, is intimate with the information, has learned enough to apply it. And there's a key to that. Applied knowledge. Because also to be an imam, you have to set up regular prayers. That's why every time we get together, you all get to hear Surah Al-Fatiha. Wherever I go, I'm an imam. There may be someone nearby who happens to know more about the Quran than I do. I step back because now it's time for me to break out my handy dandy notebook and pen. I'm listening. What's the Quran? The book of discernment, the qualifier. It's not here to replace the Bible. It's a companion to the Bible. It's here to tell you that there's another region of people, a whole different other culture, who will tell you that they still follow and abide by the rules that were set down in the Bible. Well, whose rules are in the Bible? Yahweh Elohim's rules are in the Bible. From the beginning to the last statement, that's all the standards of Yahweh Elohim. That's why earlier when I said La ilaha illallah, you ain't hear nothing about no G-O-D in there. You ain't hear nothing about no deity. And most times if you looked up that phrase, La ilaha illallah, somebody gonna put in parentheses something about G-O-D or deities. There's a reason it's in parentheses. Same way I told you when you're writing down your research information and you need to put your citations down, what are you putting in parentheses? Date. Because that's influenced and it's dated. May or may not be right. It expires. Akbar has done some traveling around the world, not just around the nation. He's been over to Asia. He's been to Tanganyika. Speaks a little bit of Swahili. Speaks a little bit of Chinese, whether it's Mandarin or modern or whatever the case. And you heard me correctly, Mandarin or modern. He speaks a little bit of modern Hebrew. Can't remember, I think he would. No, he doesn't speak a lot of Spanish. He does have a few different languages that he speaks. I do know that much because he uses that term. I can't remember the exact term, but if you happen to have different, what is it, omniglock, something like that. When you have different languages that you can go back and forth with. Those of us who have studied, then we end up picking that up anyway. In so many ways and forms, I do know Esperanto. I don't know the formal Esperanto. However, I do have a form of Esperanto within me for the languages that I have studied or the cultures that I went and studied and picked up certain phrases from. I use them. That's why I say teda and then I say shukran. They both mean thank you. One comes from Avra, another one comes from Farsi. Means the same thing. That's why cutting so-and-so from New York doesn't sound the same way as cutting so-and-so in LA. They might even say thank you differently. This is what a curator will be able to tell you, not just somebody who showed up to punch the clock. Someone whose heart, whose mind, whose soul is in this is going to be able to tell you all the way around the whole perspective, not just a piece of it. That's what a curator is. Today's party is brought to you by Nam De Hum. Nam De Hum offers a curating service for artists and artisans. It has a partnership. I'm the second partner. In many respects, if you were to come to us and say, hey, I need to register these 1-minute videos that I've been doing where I'm talking about my product, and I want to expand beyond these 1 or 2 different social media platforms that I use. I want to get the message out there. I want to be correctly registered. I want to make sure that not only are there copyrights on this, but there's actually serial numbers assigned to it so no one can take my work. That's the service that we offer. Not, oh, give me $10 and I'll put you on the Spotify playlist. That's not a curator. That's somebody being an opportunist. Oh, you have a valuable product. Why don't you slide me some money off of that? That's what that is. That's not a curator. You know how many playlists YouTube has sent to me? This is what you were listening to during the summer. We wanted to put you on a list with similar artists. Just from what you're hearing me talk about, you tell me why any of my songs would be listed with Cardi B. Tell me. I'll wait. Give me one reason why any song that I produced would have any kind of common ground with Cardi B. I've seen my music lined up with it. I'll even share it with you. There's a playlist that I call my report card. My report card. I caught enough ears to where this is where they wanted to put me with these folks. Let's see, we've been going for an hour and a half now. We're about 15 minutes away from the top of the hour. Un momento. I'll address this one. They don't know who they're playing with. TFTSSS. Hashem Yahab Alahim Shalom Barak. Allahu Assalamu Alaikum. Wa Rahmatullahi wa Barakatuh. Our Father's peace, blessings, and mercy be upon you, your family, and your circle. TFTSS decided to leave a message. Long live King Von. Who in this room knows who King Von is? Who knows the activities of King Von? While you're saying thank you, you need to hold on. You need to pause and take a time out for a second, please. Many much love and respect to you. However, I need to break some things down for you. Yes, I will explain. King Von did not represent anything that I'm talking about right now. And the phrase that I just told you actually tells you where I'm from. Many much love and respect. It tells you exactly where I'm from, where I've walked, the streets I've walked, the things that I've held down, the things that I represent. The people in these rooms already know. I could tell you things about being a disciple of the light just as much as I could tell you about being a disciple of the dark, because I've walked both paths. And when I was in the darkness, after birth, still in triple darkness, those who were walking with me even told me there's certain things that you don't do. No, I don't. Well, there's certain things that we're not going to let you do either. If we find out that you're putting poison in your body, we're beating you down, and we're going to beat down whoever gave it to you. We didn't go around calling each other ops. And we were from the same nation and clan. Let me break down something else for you. There's only one worthy of long life. And that's the Creator. That's eternal life with the Creator. Second thing, there ain't too many kings that I respect. I could list off 6 kings for you right now, family. That doesn't mean that that's what I walk with. I don't mind telling the truth. I could list off 1,000 kings right now who walked the wrong way. And our Father wasn't pleased with their work. They wouldn't have heard, Mashallah. They would have heard, get thee hence, because when it's time for Judgment Day, you're going to burn. My name within itself, most people would say, is King. However, it's beyond even that. Maliki, most people say, oh, this is King. No. I have a specific duty that I have to do right now in this living realm, because it actually does direct what happens when I go to the next level. I'm not going to pause anymore in this to explain anything else to you. You see, this session represents Yahweh Elohim. So you can take that and go back wherever else you were with it. No, there is no long live King Von. It's not my king. Charles ain't my king from England. Haile Selassie ain't my king from Axiom. You want to talk about who's the king? Let me break down something for you. There's a prince who's supposed to be sitting in the East Hall, and is the only one who can sit in the East sitting room, because Yahweh Elohim blew through that breezeway on the East End. That city where all of that goes on, It's called Yahweh is there. You want to talk about a king? Well, there's one king. And then there's one prince. That prince is our Messiah. Anything else you're talking about, get on. And I mean that, get on. You don't have to tell me what said he claimed or none of that. Get on, bye. Our Father's peace be with you, your family, and your circle. I'm not playing with you. That's what it means. And look at what you typed. Was. So he's not alive anymore. Get on with that. We're in the middle of something. You ever get that sinking feeling? When you know you were headed for a goal, but then you had to sit down and take a break, look back up, and that goal was even further away than what you thought. You know that sinking feeling? Water. Come, Yahashraya. Hezan, Yahashraya. Come out of Babylon, Yahashraya. Rise up and rejoice while Babylon falls, Yahashraya. Next time you come in my room, TFTSS, let's talk about Fred Hampton. Say your own name. Other person who has walked into YouTube land. Why you think you get to walk into my room and try and direct something? Angelic discipline means messenger's discipline. How many of you actually have met a curator? How many of you have actually met somebody who's actually doing something in your best interest that will benefit you? You can sit over there and be ignored too. Have a great time with that. Maria Luz Rodriguez. Bienvenido. Hashem Yahweh Elohim Shalom Barak. Allahu Assalamu Alaikum wa Rahmatullahi wa Barakatuh. I have nothing to hide. Nothing at all. The things that I can tell you is because of life experiences. I didn't read everything in a book. There were times where I was living and breathing through some circumstances that I'm thankful that I was able to leave out of. As Kohelet would say, 100% survival rate. I didn't spend my life coddled, wrapped up in a blanket with my head on a pillow. Some of you all might be familiar with a story about a certain brother who slept with his head on a rock and then woke up with the realization of the pillar connecting heaven and earth. Some of you might know about that story. I won't lie to you. I don't sleep with my head on a rock. I may have tried that for 2 seconds once. I would rather just sleep on the ground flat. I don't have a preference for a pillow. My pillow right now is my wrapped up hoodie. That's my pillow. A rolled up, wrapped up hoodie. I'm sleeping on a sleeping bag. Happen to be on a mattress right now. However, sleeping on the floor don't bother me. Spent years doing that. Spent years sleeping in a tent on the ground. That don't bother me. Because I'm humble, meaning I'm focused, meaning I have an occupation, meaning I will respond. See, there's a saying that I give. Don't whistle at me because you're not gonna like the pit bull that shows up. Selah. Namde Hum is here to offer a service. Those who are serious, those who are ready to pick up and build. For those in the back who don't understand, those who are into growth and development, sure, let's build. I represent a mighty nation, not a bickering nation, not a nation divided up on itself. No. I represent the supreme system, the original system. I am Khalif. I am Abdul. I am a representative and I'm a servant for our Creator. And nothing else. If you ask me to do anything else, that's when you get the refusal. When you try to take me out of my walk, I'm gonna let you know. I'm not budging. Matter of fact, I'm walking away from you. Which means you're gonna have to put in some effort and you're gonna wind up walking the path with me. Your choice. Kati Raquel Love. That person was an unwanted diversion. Speak on, sir. We won't waste our energy with nonsense. Well, that's the thing. Even when a person brings in a diversion, like I said, I have nothing to hide. And I wasn't lying with anything that I said when I retorted. And if you know anything about code, then I spoke the truth. Completely spoke the truth. There's some tendencies in me that I had to stop long ago. Because you wouldn't be seeing my face at all if I had decided to take a different path. No, you wouldn't be seeing my face. And there's some faces that you wouldn't be seeing now if I had chosen a different path. The capabilities are within, but that doesn't mean that's what I'm going to live. That's what the word jihad means. It doesn't mean strap a bomb on you and go run at a tank. It's the internal struggle of figuring out how to make sure that you walk righteously. It's not about trying to force somebody else to come to your faith. You cannot coerce somebody into it. You cannot force somebody into it. They have to find the information and make the choice that that's what they want to do. So no, I'm not going to spit your propaganda, because that's what that is. Foolish mortal. No, I'm not going to repeat your propaganda. Who do you think you're dealing with? You come into this room, you need to be talking about, let's see here, Bobby Siegel. You can talk about, what's my man's name? Shame on me for not even being able to think of the names right now. You understand me? Huey Freeman. And I'm not talking about the cartoon. Oh, man. I saw Triple Darkness twice. First time I was on the stoops listening to some Black Panthers, and I was in the womb. Next time I saw Triple Darkness was by my own choice and pulling a veil over my own eyes. Corner Street Ciphers. I mean, you can't force somebody into it. Each person's gonna have to figure out their own steps anyway. I can't tell you to put my shoes on and walk my walk. No. You weren't born with the talents that I have. There are certain things that are expected out of me. That's what I was saying earlier. That name Malik, Maliki, actually means something, and it's not, oh, I'm a king. No. Maliki goes along with Malachi, or as Kohelet would say, Malachi. As a matter of fact, I walk with a particular order. Malachi Zadok. Let it sink in. You're not going to be swaying me. I was commissioned to do this. I was commissioned to do this before I met Kohelet. I've been trying to do this all my life. There were people who were actually dedicated to the temple upon their birth. The child didn't look up at the parents and say, oh, I want to be part of the temple. No, the parents gave them to the temple. And one of those things in tradition is the firstborn son goes to the temple. And if you're the firstborn son and you were born on a Friday, you get the wonderful name of Kofi. I got a lot of names, and that's the only one that no one's really called me, and I'm so happy to have a brother that I can call Kofi. When I open my eyes to greet the day after I've been asleep, I say, I come from Allah, I shall return to Allah, may Allah be pleased when I return. Subhanahu wa ta'ala, Ameen. And then I go about my day, because that just stated what my mission is for the day until I lay down and close my eyes again. When I lay down and get ready to close my eyes at the end of the day, I come from Allah, I shall return to Allah, may Allah be pleased when I return. Subhanahu wa ta'ala, Ameen. Because that's going to be the boundary of protection on me while I'm going to sleep. Most people can't control what they have going on while they're asleep. I happen to have lucid dreams, which means that while I'm dreaming, it would be great to receive communication from the heavenly throne to tell me a few more things that I can expound on besides what I learn, hear, and retain while awake. Come Yechashra'el. Come out of Babylon. Unlearn Babylon. Hezan Yechashra'el. You see, there's a whole book that tells you how to raise up out of Babylon. A whole book. You can take some of the scrolls if you want to here and there. There's a whole book. You can go refer to the Bible. You can go refer to the Quran. And you can go refer to the Apocrypha. And where I'm from, and from what I've learned, there's actually 7 different families. And we're only talking about 3 right now. There's 7 different families that have this criteria. It's the other word for the Quran. This criterion. 7 different families. So while everybody's over here arguing about the dialect within the same family, you're asleep and don't even realize there's 7 different dialects. Now what you gonna do? Willing to have bloodshed between each other over pronunciation. You've lost the whole message just there. We're supposed to be putting nutrients between each other. We're supposed to be helping each other grow. We're supposed to be assisting each other. That word community has one magic word right in the middle of it. Unity. Oh, wait, he said magic. Do you know what magic is? It's technology. When you take 2 boards and a nail and a hammer and you go bam, 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 and you got those 2 boards together, that's magic. In the Quran, it stated there were 2 angels that were sent to earth, and they did have technology. And they were told, don't disperse this amongst the humans. They're going to do ill things. So the angels told the humans, yes, we have this. And no, we don't want to give it to you because you're going to go and do evil things with it. Oh, give it to us, please, please, we'll do right. On a rare occasion, there was someone who was righteous. However, most people took the technology and tried to influence other people so that they could assume power. Selah. Ribs. Hashem Yahav Alahim Shalom Barak. Allahu Assalamu Alaikum. Wa Rahmatullahi wa Barakatuh. As my Ak, the Mad Trucker, would say, I am what you see. I was asked if I'm Muslim. I don't know how you define a Muslim. So I can't affirm that, nor can I tell you that's a negative. I am what you see. And I've actually just told everybody what order I walk with. Maybe you weren't listening, maybe you weren't in the room yet, I don't know. However, you are welcome to run this back, because every time I do a live, it's saved on YouTube. And you walked into the YouTube room. So you are welcome at any time to go and look at any broadcast that I've done live. And you'll see exactly what I'm talking about, and you can form your own informed opinion. Like I said, I don't know how you define Muslim, so no, I'm not going to tell you I am whatever it is that you might perceive. If you have to ask me, that also tells me I don't need to answer you. 10 minutes after the top of the hour. We get together 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time to talk about ethics in entrepreneurship. I see you, Akati Rocket. We all fall and stumble. You don't fail until you actually stop trying. If you work towards something and it didn't turn out the way that you wanted it to, that's not a failure, that's a learning exercise. If you know that it's righteous, you get back up and you go and you keep moving. The failure is when you stop, because then you've really fallen short. When you cease to work, that's when you fail. Attempting to do your best, even though it's not perfection when you get done, it's not a failure. I don't release perfect music. I don't release perfect images. I don't release perfect videos. Even in this presentation right here, I'm sure there were probably a few mistakes. Why? Because I'm a human. We strive for excellence. We strive for perfection. Meaning for every day that we try our best, that's a perfect day. Because we strive to do our best. My hair is perfect because it's growing. It is doing what it's supposed to do. My delivery is perfect because I am assured in what the message is, and I'm focused enough to make sure that that's what gets out, no matter what it is that I'm talking about. Because even going down that road telling people about what I may have done in the past, that shaped who I am today. And even in that story, you heard the fact that, hey, I did not partake in certain activities. Was right there. Protested, and they said, hey, we respect you, so we gonna stop. Standing right there, and they said, if anybody try to give you this, we will hurt them. You can't touch it. Matter of fact, while we do certain activities, you can't even be in the house. We need you about 2 blocks down watching. Do you understand me? I'm 2 blocks down in case somebody decides they want to harm Sahaba. And then they got to deal with me, not even knowing who I am, jumping off of the porch. Who is this wiry looking? Yeah. Buddha Rich, it's very tabah to have you here. Hashem Yahweh Elohim, Shalom Barak. Allahu Assalamu Alaikum, wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Our Father's peace, blessing, and mercy be upon you. Let's do a quick review. Namde Hum offers a curating service. We'll hold a portfolio that has your information and promote it. We will help you learn how to promote yourself. We will help you learn how to properly register yourself so that no matter where you present yourself across the globe, you are accredited and people will come to you specifically for that service. We get together Sunday through Friday to discuss 10 different special interest groups, and we use Sunday for Q&A. Each special interest group has its own perspective and organic marketing strategies. The main perspective for Namde Hum is visionaries. Has anybody ever told you that you are a visionary? Have you ever stood next to somebody and somebody else said, that person right there is a visionary? I see you, Angelo. Applied knowledge is power. best knowledge you could possibly get comes from the standards of Yahweh Elohim. You get your wisdom from direction through Ravak HaKadesh. And then you live your life through the example that was shown to us through Yahashua HaMashiach. I'm wise because I applied the things that I learned and I made sure that it stayed within the perspective of what Ravak HaKadesh led me to do. Along with being called Angelic Discipline and DJ Microwave 5000 Watts, one of my other names is 3PROJH. 3P, Plan, Produce, Peace. ROJH, Roj. People arguing about how to say Ravak and Ruach. Well, guess what? Rosh means wind, spirit, soul. It also means rock. Anybody ever heard somebody say, upon this rock I'll build my foundation? Anybody else know about Stonyville? Anybody else know about Blackstone Riders? 3P Roche is also a calculus equation. 3P is harder than calculus equations. You see, that's one of my own bars. P represents something in an algebraic equation. RO, rho, or even R itself, radius. That J, joules. H, hertz. So you can get something out of just working with my name. It produces something itself. Yahweh Ahaba. Our creator is love. Ahaba Ahaba. Love is love. When you see someone in need, someone who needs help, someone who needs a service, don't wait for them to ask you. If you see it, it means that you have empathy and compassion. That's when you look within yourself to find a way to help them. If you don't have the capacity to help them, you go and find someone, or you find the article that they need. Article of clothing, article of food, article of information, whatever it happens to be, and you hand it to them. You don't expect a thank you from them. That's not why we're doing this. That's complete compassion. Amitabha, Ametofo. That's the way to say compassion in either Chinese or Japanese. Go out and be the reason why somebody else has a smile on their face. Stop and hold the door open for somebody. Carry a heavy load for somebody else. While you're walking along and there's somebody else that's about to cross your path, you stop and allow them to walk. What's that 2 or 3 seconds, or that 30 seconds, or even that minute if they're walking slow? Is that really going to stop you? Is it really going to hold you up that much? Show compassion for the next person. Akimal, Akati Raket. Y'all are already part of the family. I need to check to make sure, but as far as I know, you're actually part of the Promise Keepers too. And if you're part of the Promise Keepers, then it means that you're about to take the next step, and you'll get an invitation to go over to Discord, where we have a party in Sherwood Forest. Because TikTok, YouTube, Twitch, Twitter, Facebook, That's all Web 2. It's all ran by Google. I got a hot point for you real quick. For all of the different search engine that you use, go and download Brave, Brave. The icon, the symbol, it's a stencil of a red lion, white face. Brave, like the lion, and it's going to be the picture of the lion. And it's going to tell you that, yes, it's an offshoot of Google. However, this is the difference. If you search anything in Brave, yes, Brave, yes. Khan, yes. You search in Brave, it's going to give you academic articles for your answers. When you search in Brave, it's got an ad blocker on it. When you search in Brave, they want to actually pay you rewards for researching things so that they can block ads. You don't have to pay for the service. You're getting paid while you're going along doing your thing. Welcome to Web 3, where things are encrypted. Because you're not going to be able to get into the places where I prefer to hang out until you drop Babylon. Until you drop the ways of what you've picked up from Google and Facebook and all of that mess. I laugh when I come onto these platforms. That's why the only activity you're gonna see from me is me uploading a video or a picture or something like that, and then me coming and doing a live where I'm giving the message. I'm not scrolling through trying to see what people are talking about. Why in the world would I want to open my eyes to go and look at a bunch of toxic garbage? Amin Selah Ashe. I touch and I agree. Think about it, change your ways. So be it. Same here. Likewise. Como assim, como ça? Hashtag kindness is contagious. Now, there's been a lot of people who use that. However, Akbart, that's his favorite saying. Kindness is contagious. You could change a person's whole day, their whole life, by spending just a moment and being kind. It doesn't mean run up and hug everybody that you see. It doesn't even mean run up and fist bump everybody you see. Sometimes it means stop for a second and be a listening ear. Be that shoulder that they need. Because they might be spitting, spouting, and cussing and going on. However, by the time they get done and they've calmed down, they look at you and they say, thank you. You helped me get back to peace. That's why I said, listen. Don't run your mouth. No hablando. YouTube land tried to shut down for a second. I see that. A form of kindness is for you to be a listening ear, for you to be a shoulder. They may be saying some words that you don't necessarily want to hear at that point. Hear them out. Because you showed up at that moment as that vessel. You didn't know it, they didn't know it. However, the capacity is within you. So you need to use it. Know that moment when you got your stomach turning and you're trying to figure out what's wrong, what did I eat? It ain't what you ate. It's what you didn't go do. My favorite part of Revelations is the angel that's standing with one foot in the water and the other foot on the beach. And the angel hands a scroll to the prophet and says, you have to eat this. Eat the whole thing. It's going to be bitter, but I want you to eat the whole thing. Make sure you get it all. Swallow it down. And then I want you to go out to the people and I want you to tell them everything that you just consumed. That's my favorite. I used to walk around with one leg up because of that. Not off of some silly song talking about one leg up. What are you doing with your knowledge? And those who had studied would understand. They would comprehend. Step 1, learn knowledge, wisdom, and conscientiousness. Step 2, go and teach others knowledge, wisdom, and conscientiousness. And then you have to live that daily. Not just for a minute over here or a minute over there or just for this one day. Every day, all day. When I'm in public, people just open up and tell their life story just by greeting them. Exactly, Akati. Truth serum is very strong. When you go around living your life in truth, other people are affected so much that they have to speak the truth. Because that's the vibration that you're emitting. I want to thank you all for being here at this party today. I want to thank you all for every time you show up to the parties. And as you heard the invitation earlier, you can hear any of these broadcasts. You can play them back at the YouTube channel, Angelic Discipline. And you will know which one of them is the Angelic Discipline that's me off of what you see. You will know my signature. You will know my content. So once again, thank you all. Tada. Shukran. Tam Bam. Familiar name. Thanks for coming to the party. I'm seeing you right when I'm closing, but that's all right, because just like I said, I just gave an invitation. Anybody who wants to watch anything, play it back. You go to Angelic Discipline's YouTube channel. Hashem Yahweh Elohim Shalom Barak. Allahu Assalamu Alaikum wa Rahmatullahi wa Barakatuh. Our Father's peace, blessings, and mercy be upon all of you. Bavakasha Akati Raket. Mucho me gusto. It's my pleasure. It is my pleasure to be of service. You're very welcome. And Jazakallah. May several blessings come back to you for acknowledging that. Jazakallah. Yes, ma'am, Akati Deborah. Yes, ma'am. You be well as well. Inshallah, ya Allah, you barik alima wa sakhaba. By the will of our Father, may the family and community and peacekeepers, promise keepers, may we all be blessed, protected, and healed. Many much love and respect. Until next time.